The ceremony of blessings. When children in this world turn 16, they are bestowed with powers and abilities from various animal gods. Sophia Reeler was called to step forward, and she nervously approached as the students watched. She knew if you received a blessing from a bird god, you'd receive wings that let you fly freely through the air. A blessing from the fish god, your body would be able to swim freely through water. The headmaster called upon the blessings and told Sophia to choose her card. But picking was a struggle for her. If she picked peacock or chameleon, that'd 100% guarantee her into the beauty industry. A tanuki or fox would get her scouted into an acting troupe, and she didn't want to deal with that. She'd like to possibly draw the mole god. That would let her see in the dark. Any blessing that wouldn't make her stand out would do. Opening her eyes, she spotted a gorilla, much to her surprise. Carissa approached her the next day, curious about what god she chose, teasing that a bird type certainly wouldn't do, given Sophia's lacking athletic skills. Hearing girls clamor over Sir Scarl's arrival though, Carissa and her peons began to gush. They completely left Sophia alone, which, lucky for her, finally gave her the chance to eat in peace. Deerentown, the royal school that the children of nobles and distinguished families attend. A prestigious school where they taught leadership and strive to refine their students' dignity and intelligence. But in actuality, the boys tried to make connections for after they graduate, and the girls tried their best to find someone of higher rank to marry. Though it's unwritten, there's a very clear hierarchy that's determined by your family's social standing. Sophia was born into a count's family, but their land was remote. She sighed, wishing she could graduate already, but she still had 2 more years. Picking out her apple, she accidentally crushed it again? She didn't know how to control her own strength. It's been like this since yesterday. She's developed insane strength since receiving the gorilla god's blessing. She tried asking the headmaster, and he was astonished since her card was quite rare. She was the first he had ever seen to receive the gorilla's blessing. The blessing was so rare that it may or may not appear once every 50 years. The blessing itself was one of the most powerful combat class blessings. A gorilla's physical strength is 7 times greater than a human's, and their grip strength is 10 times greater, going beyond 500 kilograms. This was the last thing Sophia wanted. Disregarding her anguish, he let her know he wanted to discuss something with her in his office tomorrow after school. A squirrel then came to her side, so she offered it her bread, and left back with lunch break over. More surprises. The headmaster let her know she'd been scouted by the Royal Knights. She wouldn't be joining immediately, rather she'd have to take an exam first. Passing would allow her to start gaining experience as a junior knight. After that, passing her certification exam, she'd officially become a knight and she cut the headmaster off, asking why her? And he laughed, responding it was her blessing, of course. Having unparalleled combat power, the school was required to report her existence to the royal palace. Apparently, the ones who were gorilla blessed in the past also belonged to the knights. Sophia wanted to wake up from this nightmare. Being a royal knight was certainly a distinguished occupation, but she'd never heard of a female knight, and she was a non-combatant that just became a gorilla yesterday. But if she refused, her parents might get criticized, and if they determined she disobeyed an order from the nation, she might be locked up or banished. She agreed to take the exam, only asking her blessing and this test be kept a secret. He was fine with that, adding it was probably for the best, given the anti-monarchy faction has been quite extreme as of late. He was still cheering her on to do her best though. Sophia went back to pick up her handkerchief. She was sad, knowing if she joined the Knights, she could definitely kiss any chance at a peaceful life goodbye. Wait, all she needed to do was make sure she didn't pass. Even being a gorilla, if they realized she wasn't suited to becoming a knight, there's no way they'd welcome someone like that into such an integral part of this country. It's the day of the junior knight exams. Sophia stumbled upon a distressed merchant whose cart wheel broke off. He didn't have the tools to fix it, and he was trying to figure out how he could transport his cargo. Sophia considered using her powers, but struggled, knowing rumors might spread if she did. She finally convinced herself to do the right thing, picking up all the barrels for the man. But by the time she'd finished delivering, she was in the next town over and had no idea where to go. A handsome man with green eyes suddenly appeared, asking if he could help her in some way. Sophia was immediately stuck on his beauty. She frantically admitted she was lost and needed to head to the Royal Knights training grounds. So he pointed her in the right direction, and as she was hurrying off, he stopped her, wiping a little dirt she had on her face with his handkerchief. and giving their goodbyes, she was alerted by his phrase, "See you later," wondering what he meant by that. Being the only girl at the exam, she quickly wanted to go home. She wanted to get this over with already. She was surprised to see the man she met earlier was here and administering their exams. He was in fact Luis Scarl, the youngest ever knight candidate. The first test was a sprint, where Isaac Shihan was confident in displaying his speed. Sophia could see his impressive legs. He cleared in 9.9 seconds, and now Sophia was sure she wouldn't pass against someone as talented as him. When her turn came, the boys laughed at her awkward stance. However, the gorilla inside began to spark. She wasn't prepared for her pacing and accidentally crashed through the wall. She noted the light feel she had when she ran, as if she could run forever. Well, gorillas can run 40 kilometers per hour. The next test was rappelling. Sophia was scared to climb down a rope, and reaching the top, many of the examinees were scared as well. However, Eddie Fellis began, dropping down with no issue and backflipping off of the building. Sophia was amazed by his skill, and then noticed Isaac cowering in the corner. He absolutely couldn't deal with high places, so she offered to go right before him. That way, she could catch him if he fell. This caused him to acknowledge his patheticness, making a girl feel sorry for him. He called her name Lovely, and asked her to climb down with him, and even on the way down, he was frightened but doing his best. A strong wind blew, causing Isaac's rope to break, but Sophia saved him with her gorilla strength. He wasn't heavy for her at all. Her rope then came undone, and her instincts activated, holding on to Isaac as they came down. He was sobbing and thankful. Before beginning their next test, Luis told Sophia to come with him to the infirmary. Sophia couldn't tell, but her hands were completely roughed up. As he treated her, she kept fixating on his beautiful features. His long lashes and defined nose. She thought he almost looked like he belonged in a museum. He caught her in a daze, making him laugh, but now he was fixated on holding her hand. He caught himself in a moment and pulled away. Seeing him blush, she didn't know he could look like this. Luis admitted to his curiosity, citing she managed to hold Isaac with that hand and come down. Judging by the results of the agility test, he at first assumed her talent was in her legs. He wanted to know more, but she couldn't just tell him she was chosen by the blessing from the gorilla god. Heading back, they came upon the test takers sparring, and nearly getting hit. Sophia was glad she went to the infirmary, but now realizing she might fail because she missed this portion, she was glowing. She felt a little sad that she might not get to see Luis again, but reminded herself the two of them lived in completely different worlds. With the exam coming to a close, Luis thanked her for saving a life today. Isaac sprinted over, checking on her, and the two received praise from Luis. Walking back together, Isaac rambled on about how Luis had become a knight at the age of 15, before even receiving his blessing. Luis was the heir to a prominent family that's produced many knight squad captains, and he in particular had already mastered the sword. Yet, he's never acted cocky. Isaac looked up to him so much. Sophia felt a little envious that Isaac had a goal to strive for like this. She felt like someone like him should have gotten her powers. They then spotted Eddie getting chastised by some other boys, saying they heard he was the child of a mistress, and that he shouldn't have been let into the exams. Sophia and Isaac tried to intervene, but the boys pushed back, replying they had business with the little rich boy from the Fellis family. Sophia tried to make up an excuse to get Eddie out, using they had promised to walk home together with Eddie. But the boys just laughed, and one of them tried to punch Sophia, but got blocked by Isaac. Of course, trying to punch a girl would be a disgrace to the knights. Everyone was then surprised to see Eddie had knocked the wind out of one of the other fodder bullies. A fight was about to ensue, until one of them grabbed onto Sophia, and her just pulling back sent him crashing into a tree. Walking back as a trio, Isaac sang Sophia's praises, even though she felt bad that the other boys had run off calling her a freak. Isaac wondered if she was like some shinobi from the Far East, but Eddie quickly called out that she was blessed by the gorilla god. He cited her strength that had carried a grown man, and her strange running style that beat Isaac, who was the fastest guy in the country. And that was before Isaac received his dog blessing, which only made him even faster. Eddie wished he had gotten her blessing, now describing a gorilla's feats like this was National Geographic. The basic things that had already been mentioned. A gorilla's leg strength allowed them to run up to 40 kilometers per hour. They had 7 times the strength of a human, and their grip strength was said to be over 500 kilograms. The gorilla god was one out of 2 ultimate combat class blessings that existed. But he didn't know why Sophia was so timid. He thought she should at least brag a little. Regardless, he was thankful for her saving him back there. The boys then reintroduced themselves. But 16-year-old Eddie, the same age as the other two, would not comment on his blessing. Depending on the blessing, having others find out about them could become a weakness. Either way, Isaac was cheerful, raising the other two's hands in hopes they'd all pass. But on the inside, Sophia was a little somber once again, knowing she wouldn't see them unless you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Because here at My Shoujo Weekly, I'm covering all the wonderful shoujo stories no one is talking about. You'll find romance, you'll find action, you'll find hot guys. So come on, I got it all, that's no lie, please hit that subscribe. She passed. Is even a single person shocked to find this out? Despite missing one portion of the exam, she still had performed feats that reflected well on her. She was tearful, but her training as a junior knight was to take place after school. Later in class, the girls were squealing over the new transfer students, Isaac and Eddie. Sophia hid her head, heart beating fast, wondering what those two were doing at her school. But Isaac quickly embarrassed her by pointing her out, earning her the ire of her other female classmates. Goodbye to her peaceful school life. She had to tell the boys later she wanted her being in the Knights and what her blessing was to remain secret. Isaac wondered why, and with her seeing just how popular the two were with girls, she really couldn't afford any more hate. They agreed with her request, but walking together, they spotted the biggest crowd of girls squealing over Luis. He was happy to see the three of them, but Sophia wasn't so happy feeling the hatred coming from all the other girls. She asked him what he was doing here, and he explained that while his priority was his knight duties, technically, at age 18, he was her senior in more than one way. He began to congratulate the three of them on passing their junior knight exams, but she shoved his mouth, pressing him inside the hall. Taking her hands off, she apologized for her rudeness. She had no idea he had been going to the same school as her the entire time. In class, she was swarmed by even more people than usual. Carissa wanted to know what her relationship was with Luis, and Sophia tried to explain they had just met once. But Carissa wasn't buying it. At this rate, lunch was going to end without Sophia being able to eat. She then pulled the ultimate pro-gamer tactic, pointing and saying, "Look, Luis is over there!" And all the girls bought it, giving her time to get away. She finally got reprieve in the cafeteria, but not for long, because Isaac and Eddie wanted to eat with her. They also had a hard time trying to eat, getting stopped by girls every few minutes. Eddie was annoyed, wondering if people at the school had nothing better to do. Every break, someone was asking him where he came from or what his hobbies were. All Sophia could respond with was a nervous laugh, feeling envious female eyes stabbing at her. Then, deja vu. The girls were screaming at Luis's arrival. He sat with them, bringing up their induction ceremony tomorrow, while Sophia scarfed down her food, trying to get out of here. If she stayed longer, she didn't want to know what those girls would say to her, but at the same time, it felt sorta like a waste to leave. Luis then approached her, asking for a moment. He gave her a baggie with a muffin, thinking what she ate might not have been enough, and told her not to tell Isaac or Eddie, since he didn't get any for them. Leaving soon after though, the looming presence of jealous women quickly arose. They wanted explanations from Sophia. At the induction ceremony, Isaac and Eddie wondered if something was wrong with Sophia. She tried to assure them she was fine, but she didn't expect the girls to come all the way to her dorm. She made the excuse that her family knew Luis's, and for some reason, all the girls bought it. Carissa in particular, believing Luis wouldn't waste his time on someone as unrefined as Sophia. Sophia accepted that about herself. Her hair was always messy. She could never seem to set it right. She was taller than most girls and also absolutely scrawny. But now, she's also the gorilla woman. She was saddened at the thought that Luis wouldn't waste time on someone like her, no matter how much she was at his side. It's not like anyone would consider her their rival. With the new recruits lining up, the Royal Knights Grand Master, Ernst Cheval, congratulated them as the 156th Junior Knights certified. They would all have to prepare to lay down their lives to protect the safety and peace of the kingdom. As knights, they must always be noble and refined. He expected that none of them would dishonor their name. The junior knights then took their bow, and Ernst stared at Sophia, telling her to cut her bangs, since they'd get in the way during battle. She couldn't believe she just received a warning from the most important person here. That night, she totally messed up. Her bangs weren't long enough to tuck behind her ears like Eddie's. She thought about cutting it as short as Isaac's, but now she had a bigger problem. The two were worried about her. Grabbing the scissors, trying to fix her cut some more, she accidentally broke them with her gorilla grip. She thought she had gotten a handle on her strength already. The next day, Sophia wandered the Royal Capitol Grand Plaza, searching for a hairdresser. Getting distracted by a delicious-looking strawberry tart, she was called out by Luis. She was stuck on her words as he offered to help her find any place she was looking for. He often patrolled this area and knew it very well. So, she meekly asked for a hairdresser, and he took her to one. But she wasn't expecting a scary skinhead to ask, "Who needs to get chopped up?" He looked more like some skilled mercenary than a hairdresser. After she took off her scarf, he abruptly said, "What the hell are these bangs?" Causing her to shriek. He brandished his razor, saying that when dealing with bangs, you've got to delicately cut them little by little, like you're skinning a beast. She understood what he was saying, but the analogy was horrifying. The man used to be a member of the Royal Knights, apparently. Luis knew he looked scary, but claimed he was a great guy. Sophia woke up. Whoops, she had fallen asleep, but now her hair was fabulous. The man told her she had a pretty face, so she just needed a little touch-up to accentuate it. Luis came back from his patrol duties, and seeing him, Sophia was bright red. Taking her leave, she asked the man how much she owed, but the bill had already been paid for. Luis paid for it. He knew she felt troubled by the Grand Master's words, and felt like he should have warned her earlier. He hoped him doing this much would earn her forgiveness. Walking together, Sophia felt a little happy that Luis was so concerned about her. They suddenly stopped, with Luis staring through the bakery windowsill from earlier, and he got embarrassed with Sophia realizing he wanted some cake. He loved sweets, but these places tended to have a lot of female patrons. Going by himself, he ended up sticking out like a sore thumb. But this gave Sophia the idea that if she went in with him, she'd be able to repay him for the haircut. But also, if someone from school happened to see them together, something even more terrifying might happen this time. She was more affirmed though, hearing him say that he'd love to try this place, even once. And she was blown away by his cuteness. Inside, they definitely stood out with all the girls gushing over him. Sophia could understand though. He went overboard, ordering 2 pistachio mousses, 1 walnut tart, caramel nuts and almonds, 2 slices of dried fruit and nuts pound cake, and 2 coffee walnut cakes. And also 2 cookies to go. He just wanted to try various things, since he'd finally come in. Seeing how happy he was after his first bite, Sophia couldn't help but gush again. He admitted he was glad she was here today. He would have never come in without her. She, on the other hand, thought he could have surely come with someone else. He was so lovely, he had to have someone else. But for some reason, he didn't see it that way. He believed everyone was suspicious of him since he rarely showed up at school. Sophia was in disbelief that he didn't even realize he was popular. Luis added he didn't even have a betrothed. He couldn't think about marriage until he was confident enough to fulfill his goal. Sophia wondered what his goal was, but didn't ask. He then suddenly asked her if she was blessed by the gorilla god. He didn't mean to ask out of the blue, but after seeing all of her excellent abilities, he couldn't help but be curious. She meekly answered the truth. She then apologized, believing she was strange. She was a girl with brutish powers, a gorilla, and now shaking, thinking Luis might end up hating her. Instead, he pointed out why he believed she was chosen. She always put others first. The gorilla god probably recognized that kindness and consideration of hers. Her power existed to help people. Of course he wouldn't hate her. He was worried though, because despite having a powerful blessing, she was still a lady. He was sure there would be hardships she'd face being in the order that are different from what the men faced. If she felt any trouble, he didn't want her to hesitate to rely on him. Leaving the bakery, Sophia kept telling herself not to take this the wrong way, thinking he was only helping her because she was his junior. She also wondered what blessing he had. She had heard there was another blessing with combat abilities equal to hers. If Luis had something similar, it'd make her happy in some way. Back at the Knight's base, the Maritime Forces Squad Commander, Shin Quail, read over Sophia's report. With Archent Adler, the Musketeer Commander, greeting him, he tried his best to ignore him. Archent rambled about the interesting new recruits this year. Meanwhile, Sophia was using her gorilla powers to flee from the girls at school pursuing her. They were chasing because Isaac was chasing her, trying to find a way to hang out. During training, he was pouting because she'd left him behind. Eddie was out of breath. It seems he didn't have the same physical stamina as these two. They moved on to musket training next, and Sophia and Isaac were freaking out that their guns might go off randomly. However, Eddie reasoned they'd have to at least be loaded first. For their safety, they had to wear vests made by a spider blessed. On the off chance they were hit, the vest would greatly reduce impact. Commander Archant then appeared from above because he wanted to see what the newbies could do. With their practice commencing, Isaac missed it, but Eddie hit a bullseye. Archant praised him, bringing up that the Fellis family produced a great number of snipers. Sophia was a little too nervous gripping her musket though, causing it to snap. Archant burst out in laughter over this. He then whispered, "Well done, our little gorilla." After they finished, he put on his own display, shooting a perfect bullseye through multiple shots, telling them by the time they joined his squad, he hoped they could at least shoot at this level. The junior knights were stunned. Archant returned to his peers, and Victor Volk, the ground forces commander, told them they should eat out together. Archant then brought up he was really interested in this new batch of knights, especially the gorilla. He couldn't stop himself from talking to her. However, Shin brought up the gorilla's powers weren't suited for musketeers. And while Archant thought Shin's point was valid, he himself never let a prey he was hunting get away. On the day of the school party, Sophia was anxious staring at the brand new dress her parents sent her. She knows she asked them to send her one, but she told them that one she already had at home would have been fine. She honestly wanted to miss the party, but who knows what people would say if she did. She felt bad boxing the dress away, but if she wanted to get through the party without standing out, there's no way she could wear this bright red dress. Arriving at the party, Carissa commented on having seen Sophia's dress somewhere. It's because that was the same dress Sophia wore when she was in middle school. She was then greeted by Carissa's partner for the party, the handsome Leo Hart, followed by Carissa asking where Sophia's partner was, explaining one simply couldn't attend this party without a partner of the opposite sex, laughing at Sophia's expense as she walked away. Sophia ran for it, thinking she should have never come. She hated suffering this humiliation. She then bumped into the man of the hour, Luis. He apologized for bumping into her, but now he wondered why she was crying. She made the excuse she just had something in her eye, so he grabbed to take her to the infirmary. But this made her finally admit that really, she had no idea you couldn't go to the school party without a partner. This was the worst. She couldn't believe she had to tell Luis something so humiliating. However, she didn't expect Luis to respond, "Well, that's perfect then," while smiling. Now the two were the talk of the party. Sophia was self-conscious, asking him if he was sure it was okay that they were together. What about his actual partner though? Also surprising, this was his first time he heard they were required to have partners as well. Now Sophia figured tons of girls had asked him if he was going to the party, but not a single one of them actually asked him out. Watching from afar, Carissa thought Sophia was getting ahead of herself, and that she needed to be reminded of her place. She and her cronies greeted them upstairs, offering Sophia a drink and trying to drop it on her. But Sophia caught it, thanks to her gorilla reflexes. Now the girls were freaking out over the strange occurrence, so they retreated. Luis complimented Sophia's technique, embarrassing her a bit. That aside, she brought up the seriousness in the way he asked her to attend the party with him earlier. He then whispered that this morning, a letter was delivered by a certain organization. It said that there were explosives hidden somewhere in the school. It could of course be a prank, but with the party containing a lot of noble children, it's possible the suspects were looking to hold them hostage. The knights proposed canceling the party, but the parents and guardians quickly shot down the idea, telling them not to give in to the threats. Being a student here, Luis could secretly investigate, and he had Isaac and Eddie on the case as well. Sophia accepted her role in this too. However, she was nervous, seeing Luis offer his arm to her, but he reasoned it'd be strange if partners didn't have their arms linked. Carissa was seething and shaking, because now the two seemed closer than before. Looking around, Luis remarked not seeing anything suspicious, while Sophia glanced at her fellow students' curiosity and jealousy. And oh no, Carissa was back to harass her. She tried to get in on Luis, and he kindly thanked her for always being so kind to Sophia. His sparkles made her blush and back away a little. All the while, one of her cronies told Sophia there was something on her sleeve, and brought out a pair of scissors to try to ruin her dress? Sophia held back her reflex, knowing if she tried to shake the girl off with her strength, she'd probably break her arm. So, Luis stepped in, knocking the scissors away and asking what the girl was trying to do just now. She made the excuse she wasn't trying to hurt Sophia, and that it was just a joke. Just a prank. Sophia tried to stop a scene from being made, but Luis's eyes widened, seeing her sleeve was ripped. He tried to offer his jacket, causing her to back away and trip on her dress, where he caught her. Oh, she was really blushing now, and all the girls were squealing. As he picked her up, she tried assuring him she wasn't hurt, but he still carried her out. Outside, she wondered just how far he was going to carry her. He uttered, "I couldn't even protect a lady. I'm a failure as a knight." But she took the blame for falling. Plus, she was a knight too. He accepted her answer, and then decided it was time for her to get a new dress. She couldn't believe she was going to end up wearing the new dress after all. But, seeing him worry for her sake earlier, she didn't want him to worry even more. She felt embarrassed wearing it, but she needed to hurry. That's when she ran into Leohart, who explained Carissa left him behind having more fun with her friends. He touched her face, complimenting her dress, but wondered why she wasn't going to wear any makeup with it. He offered to make her more beautiful, but she pushed him off. He then slammed his hand against the wall to stop her, telling her, "Oh, don't be like that. I'm all by myself here, and I'm lonely." Just in the nick of time though, Isaac and Eddie called out to her, so he took his leave with her knights here. They quickly put what happened with Leohard aside to discuss the bomb. So far, no explosives have been found on any floor. Maybe it was just a prank. Before heading back to the party, Eddie stopped Sophia, letting her know she couldn't go back without a little touch-up. Seeing our gorilla girl dolled up, Luis was certainly taken back a little. And now the other partygoers were talking about how cute she was in the dress as well. Sophia found herself being the unwanted center of attention again, and wondered why Eddie knew how to do all this anyway. He borrowed makeup tools from some girls, and really touched up her look. But now, with her being the center of attention, and being grouped with the 3 hottest guys at school, they were standing out even more than before. She then asked how Eddie and Isaac got in without partners, but Eddie wondered why anyone would need one. Oh, now she realized Carissa had tricked her. She apologized to Luis for relaying the wrong info, but he didn't mind since he was having fun. Carissa, meanwhile, was more furious than ever, seeing Sophia's flashy dress, and Eddie and Isaac with her as well. Her cronies, however, didn't want to do any more harm, still scared over how Sir Luis was when angered. With that, Carissa smirked, seeing how she could use another girl. Upstairs, Sophia spotted that berry girl, Araignier, crouching down and went to check on her. Araignier claimed she had lost one of her earrings and knew where it was, but she was too scared to go alone. Thus, she led Sophia to the old school building where it supposedly was. She told Sophia it was inside a particular wooden crate, because a teacher asked her to restock some supplies. Finding it, Araignier locked Sophia inside, apologizing because she was ordered to. Sophia already knew it was Carissa. She sighed. She knew Araigner's family probably wasn't of high status, and thus, she couldn't say no to Carissa, whose family was super high. It's not like she couldn't break out, but if she did, Carissa would probably yell at Araignier. Time passed, and she heard some men enter, perhaps staff or faculty. They picked up the box she was in, remarking the lock was sticky like it was covered in a spider's web or something. They were taking it to the 3rd floor. But for what? Find out next time by subscribing to my channel. For now though, watch this next video. It's me, ComfyTea. I'll see you all in the next one.